Raul. Well, his body weight is 64.4 kilos. His height 1.73 meters. He's really lean. His body fat percentage in the indirect assessment is 11%, so he's pretty skinny right now. Um, he actually wants to gain muscle mass with program design, but we've had the conversation around hypertrophy and its utility and what it implies. So we changed the direction towards skill building, to actually doing something with the body rather than making it bigger and slow, right? He really didn't know about that, so we changed priorities to creating functionality around the body, instead of focusing on just getting bigger. Uh, Also, his genetics and the way that he has been living so far are factors in how much muscle mass he's going to gain. He hasn't been really active for a long time, so we we discussed that maybe there's going to be an increase in lean mass, but we actually checked we actually had a reality check in terms of how much hypertrophy he's going to gain, as he's right now 31 years old. So we needed to manage his expectations, right? So his build actually is pretty good. So in terms of body composition, we don't really have much goals in there. He We need to have a lot of discussions with him around myths and beliefs around training, as he hasn't done functional training before. Once he did interval training and ended up hating it, as he didn't like being left on the floor hurting, gasping for air. So we need to be really cautious with the intensity that we prescribe with them. Uh, so also the way that he has been eating has been by creating caloric deficit, um, without a basis of knowledge to do so. But he's really disciplined in that way. He just started doing it and lower his fat percentage just on pure willpower. So that's something that we need to take into account, that he's really disciplined and actually complies with his own goals as of right now. So that's going to be a plus in terms of goal setting with him. We just need to have a lot of discussion and conversations around doing it in a healthy way, and not just following trends and fashions around the fitness world. In terms of the assessment, he he's he's a really good mover, considering that he hasn't had any experience with functional training before. He passed in the scratch test, even though he lacks a bit of internal rotation on the left shoulder, and led to a discussion on previous pain that he has had on the shoulder, right? Especially when going into internal rotation of the shoulder. So that will be one of the priorities right now. He has the mobility to do so, but he's in fear of that pain that he has had before. So we need to be cautious of that and work on stabilizing those scapulas. We will need to work on motor control with them. Uh, on the air squat, he failed as he lacked depth and maintaining an upright torso. When asking him where he felt the restriction, he actually said that he felt all of the load on the thoracic spine. So again, core work it's going to be necessary. We also see the tendency of the right knee to cave in and the arch of the foot collapsing. Uh, I know that maybe this could be better if he wore sneakers, but as an assessment, I preferred. It was a choice of mine to actually do it barefoot, because I saw how that arch of the foot collapsed inwards when doing the squat. Um, so maybe we'll have to work on that as well. A lot of single leg activity because I couldn't see that on the left leg. In terms of the toe touch, he passed. Didn't really have any troubles in there. He felt a little restriction on the hamstring, but that's nothing noticeable. In terms of the ASLR, he passed. He felt more tension on the left leg, some difficulties maintaining. My God, that word is hard to pronounce. Maintaining knee extension. So that could be an indicator of hip flexors restrictions, right? Maybe a little bit of work on those knee extensors is going to be necessary, but nothing really considerable, right? In the lunge, he passed with flying colors. Didn't really have any troubles there. In terms of core stability and endurance, he's really good at it. 60-second front plank, reverse plank of 60 seconds with only a slight wrist pain. That maybe we'll need to address, but nothing out of the ordinary. In the side plank is where he struggled most. He ended up doing a minute and 23 seconds on the right side, and on the left side he actually stopped as he felt that his ankle was giving out, right? So he felt that he could maintain the position at the lateral hip, at the core, but his ankle couldn't really maintain the position anymore. But he could on the right side, so maybe we'll have to do some strengthening on inversion, right? On inversion of the ankle. If there is a 30-second difference, 25, 30-second difference on both sides, we need to look at what is happening on that left side, that his ankle is actually not being able to handle the load. So strengthening the ankle in both inversion, eversion, plantar flexion, dorsiflexion couldn't hurt, right? And so maybe we'll dig more into that as the sessions go by. In the OPEX work portion of the assessment, he scored 71.1 cal score, an average RPM of 48 and a max RPM of 60. It was his first time doing this test. As I said before, he doesn't have any experience with CrossFit or any type of biking work, right? So he lacks awareness of pacing. with the instructions given, he thought that he needed to have peaks in power. He started accelerating at some points. He had some strategy in mind to actually maintain a rhythm, then peaking and then lowering and then peaking again. Um, however, however, he actually maintained the 10 minute work. He didn't really feel nauseous. He didn't really had any troubles doing the 10 minutes of work. Actually, um, proving that his aerobic capacity is pretty good. It's pretty good for the first time doing this. Actually, he he proved that he can put in the work, and the exercises and the training regime that he has been doing so far is actually paying off. He hasn't biked before, at least not on an assault bike. He doesn't run, but in the initial consultation, he told me that he has been doing some cardio work by doing shadows. He likes MMA, he likes the UFC, so he has been punching a lot, doing a lot of mountain climbers, sprawls. He hasn't had a coach. He has been following no programming. He has been doing it by just intuition, just moving on his own, and that's the reason why his aerobic capacity is actually pretty good considering everything. He left room for the last minute to go for max effort, but he lacks overall strength as he only reached 60 RPM and going all out. What actually stood out is that he took about 10 minutes to recover from the expression, so yeah, he does have the aerobic capacity to express for 10 minutes, but he needs to work more on it to improve recovery rates. So in terms of program design, maybe we'll prioritize strength work and aerobic capacity in terms of pacing, right? He needs to go through all of the map 10 to 1 spectrum to know what pace is like, as the only interval training that he has had so far has been a high intensity interval training, which left him hating interval training. So we'll have to be really careful in how we prescribe aerobic work, because the beliefs he has around it are not good. In terms of strength work, we'll have to work with a lot of high time under tension exercises. Maybe we'll need to be creative around it, and as he doesn't have that many equipment at home, he will have to do mostly body weight training. So we'll need to work a lot on the muscle endurance 3, and in terms of the legs, he only has about 16 kilos in terms of dumbbells, so we'll reach a peak soon in terms of leg strength. So we'll maybe focus more on muscle endurance training, and hopefully that will help him along the way.